Kurt was in love with Brian and Brian was in love with Kurt, and it just couldn't mix. Two very, very selfish people.
And massive egos, yeah. His is bigger than mine, though, in terms of character, you know. I think
it's a love story in a lot of different ways, and then it's the story of this kid named Arthur from Manchester, who I think maybe we can all identify with the most in the film.
He's sort of the narrator, in a way. I mean, got kicked out of his own house because of his glam attraction and everything that went with that. You know, and it's the only period of his life that you can look back on and really sort of see as a happy moment.
It was set in the 1970s. It could be any era because it's people. The movie's just about people and basically how being true to yourself was the greatest mask you could possibly put on, because nobody can conceivably believe at that point in time that you could be anything you wanted to be.
Well, England's such a tight, classist society, and these people were just like, yeah, free for all, you know? Suddenly there was this fresh, vibrant, new outlook, which basically accepted everything. It was like, be who you want to be and love it. So these people had complete freedom, and they created so many different personas for themselves.
I wanted to bury the past in the film, and so there would always be this nostalgia and the sense of something dangerous and exciting that was closed up, that Arthur as a character has to sort of dig out, you know. So from the beginning of the movie, there's this enormous sense of loss and of longing for a past that we've forgotten or that we buried, and, you know, yeah, I'm playing it up.
You don't see many great painters or many great filmmakers who just make funny, happy films, or funny, happy songs, or funny, happy paintings. They don't. All the best ones delve into the world of tragedy, because out of tragedy is beauty.
And I remember going to the movies when I was a kid and feeling that thrill about going on some unknown trip somewhere, and I would love Velvet Goldmine to have that feeling about it.
Nothing is ever as simple as it might seem in his movies, and that's definitely the case with Velvet Goldmine.
If you're creating a myth, initially, artificially, the best way to really pull it off is to become the myth.
Because the secret of becoming a star is knowing how to behave like one.
Action!
What's true about music is true about life. The beauty reveals everything because it expresses nothing.
I'm only 24. I was born in '72, my God. But I certainly did. I got so into the music making the movie, and I still am.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and whomever else may be in the house this evening, I give you Brian Salade!
Oh, I was moved by a screen dream. Say your pictures are living. Your death could not kill.
I guess the sound and the content shared a great deal, which it was extremely ornate and melodic and very produced, but not in a slick way as much as a embellished. The music was dressed up. It drew from the hard, sort of threatening anti-hippie sounds of the Velvet Underground and the Stooges, and that kind of violence. The violence of the music certainly was there, and the sexual violence that comes from those groups was definitely a part of it. But it wouldn't have happened without the music hall vaudevillian tradition that seems to me so completely British, mixing in with that.
I came down like water for the waves of so long.
I didn't know the music. It wasn't what I was brought up with, so I had to basically backtrack. And I think now that maybe it was better because people actually use musical instruments instead of computers.
We'll take the whole shebang.
Glitter. Even the music had glitter on it. Today there's no glitter. It's all dense bass. It had glitter, I think so. It had makeup. Music had makeup.
Some of the stuff that they were doing back then was so radical and so creative, really, not just musically, but in terms of production, in terms of what they were doing in the studio, slamming together and trying different ideas. And some of it was, you know, abject failure, but a lot of it was really inspired.
And the mixture of those elements, the theatricality mixed in with the raunchy, very, you know, frank sexuality of it all, is apparent in the music itself. You don't even have to listen to the words or understand them, I think, to feel that in the music.
To see you were meant for me, yeah. I'm your toy, a 20th century boy.
It's swinging, it's rock, it's got beautiful romantic sweeps in it. It carries you along. It's a soundtrack to a dream.
Baby's on fire. I better throw her in the water. Look at her laughing like a heifer to the slaughter. Baby's on fire, and all the laughing boys are bitching, waiting for photos. Oh, the plot is so bewitching.
I think it's aggressive artificiality and sort of celebration of artifice and rejection of the natural in every way frightened people off. And that it's much easier to sort of revitalize and kind of reinvent moments in pop culture that seem to be about something raw and truthful and earnest, like punk or like, you know, grunge or like some of 60s music, than it is to, I think there's something a little more prickly and more complex.
Why the makeup?
Why? Because rock and roll's a prostitute. It should be tarted up, performed. The music is the mask, while I am my chiffon and taff.
It was high performance in a way that I think you only see certain periods that pushed it to that extreme in rock, in popular music.
The first duty in life is to assume a pose. What the second duty is, no one has yet found out.
It was colourful, beautiful loud colours, flamboyance, flares, lots of material being used, playful, people with boas, glamour, the glitter, innocent, just like a child dressing up, you know, a fantasy, escape.
The look of it, I mean, everything is recycled. I mean, people today are like so into the 70s and then there are older folk kind of looking at it and going, I was there, you're a fool, give it up.
I can make you a star.
I was like a really young teenager in the sort of early 70s. And all the stuff that I've been able to produce on this is stuff that I wanted to wear then but couldn't because I was too young. I kind of did the best I could, you know, and made my own versions, but I really aspired to be able to wear all these fantastic things that I could see other people wearing. So it's really exciting for me now to be able to do it.
It was about going out on the street and pushing it as far as you can, and almost in a way pushing it in people's faces a bit and saying I don't care and you can just get out of my face if you don't like it and so on and so forth.